So what are the top 5 things that you can do to increase the revenue of your rental property? Listen, at the end of the day, we all know that when you own a rental property, you own a business, and that business survives off of making money. Now, sometimes you cannot increase rent, which is how most people think that you can get more money for your property by just trying to say it's worth more for rent. The reality is it may not get that rent because that's not what the market dictates. But here are 5 things that you can do to actually increase rent. Some of them are cosmetic and some of them are business related. And the reason I wanted to combine these is because I think that if you learn to run your business better, both from doing things cosmetically as well as running your business with different procedures, you will be able to combine them, pick and choose which ones you want. But here are the top 5 things that you can do right away to make more revenue for your property. So the first thing is curb appeal. Understand that when the person drives up to rent your property, you never get a second chance at a first impression. When they drive up, they are imagining what the house looks like when they pull up after a hard day's work, their kids are playing in their lawn or whatever's going on in the front yard, and they are picturing this great view of everything. Now imagine they drive up to your house and there's overgrown trees, there's weeds, there's mail falling out of the mailbox, everything is dilapidated, it needs pressure washing. That's not a good experience. Even if you did all this great work on the inside, if they never get out of the car because of how it looks, it really doesn't matter. Curb appeal is one of the number 1 things that you can do that is very inexpensive, and you can actually ask for more rent right out of the gate when you're trying to lease your property just based on the first impression. Always remember that people buy on emotion and then they back it up with logic. Their emotion is when they drive up to the property, how are they gonna feel thinking that they're driving up every day? So you wanna give them that first impression. So curb appeal, number 1, is the best bang for the buck. Next thing is when they walk in the property. Paint and carpet will always be the best thing that you can do for a rental property. It smells good when you walk in. Smelling fresh paint and fresh carpet just has that smell to it, and it also makes it a lot more cleaner. You can't patch certain walls. There's certain paint things that don't match. That is not the way to give that impression. Also, if you're going to do a rent renewal, that could be something that you can increase rent, because if you say, hey, we're gonna paint the whole house and we're gonna replace your carpet, but your rent's gonna go up a little bit, that's understandable. So again, you're doing a capital improvement to your property, right? You're making it look better, you're making it smell better, you're giving it a better presentation. It's your property at the end of the day, and you want a tenant who wants that. If you get a tenant that walks into your property and they see dirty paint, they see dirty carpet, they see the house trashed, and they say, I'll take it, let me tell you something, that's a red flag. You need to be very careful renting to that type of person. Next thing is turning your house into a smartphone. Listen, nowadays we have all these gadgets and things that we plug into the walls, and Wi-Fi and wireless this and wireless that. If you make your house a smart home, you will be able to definitely garner more money. And if you're renting to the younger generation, maybe millennials or the Gen Z or whatever they are these days, that is what they're gonna want and that is what they're gonna expect. So making sure that your house is a smart home can make it more energy efficient. You can get some tax breaks from that depending on where you live, and you will attract more people in that market base. So you want to understand who you're renting to and also what are the benefits for you. So I recommend, look, it's not going away. Houses are just going to need to get smarter. You might as well start doing that now, because that is how you're going to be able to get more money for your property. If yours has it and the neighbors don't, they may be the difference of you renting or not renting your property. Next is auto renewal. Now, when your property has a tenant in it, you sign a lease. Normally that lease is about for 12 months on standard. The challenge a lot of people have is they're nervous to raise the rent. One of my recommendations is you can put in the lease agreement that there's gonna be a standard rent raise. Maybe it's 2%, maybe it's just something standard, but put it in the contract to where it's an auto renewal. Listen, at the end of the day, you have expenses, your taxes go up, your insurance goes up. rent goes up also. That's just how it is, right? If the tenant complains, then you can decide at that point whether you want to keep it in or not. But having that in the lease agreement, you don't have to have that awkward discussion if you feel uncomfortable. And then maybe 2 years later, you've got a property that maybe you've lost out a lot of revenue on because you never took the time to actually increase the rent. So having an automated rent increase of a certain amount, it doesn't have to be a lot, it could be a nominal fee, but having it automated in there as an escalation is something that I recommend. Last, pets. So many people have no understanding of pets. Let me just tell you something, that 80% of all renters out there have a pet. Now, when I say a pet, it could be a fish, it could be a gerbil, it could be a dog, it could be a horse, whatever. The challenge is when people say no pets, when you're doing a search engine on a property and maybe you have a goldfish, well, technically that is a pet, right? So if you say no pets and you click that in the search engine, your house is never even gonna come on the market. They're not even gonna see the possibility because you deselected it out of the pool of potential properties. That is 80% of the renters. I recommend saying pets on a case-by-case basis so that you can make the decision. Now, there's actually companies out there that will do a background screening on the pet. Just like they would on a person, you can get a background screening on the actual animal. Also, you can actually charge rent fees for the pet. So obviously you got to make sure you understand what's going on in your local area, what's allowed in your state and laws, but you can charge a pet fee. You can charge a pet deposit, you can charge a pet rent. Again, you gotta make sure what's legal in your area, but these are ways to increase revenue by doing that. I can tell you from my own experience of 20 years of doing this, I've seen children do more damage to properties than I have pets. So again, most people take very good care of their pets, especially if they're willing to pay more for them, they're gonna take care of them. This is a business. You wanna make as much revenue as you can for the property that you have. These are ways to do that. So again, just to recap, you get curb appeal, paint and carpet, you've got your smartphone, auto renew their lease, and lastly, take pets on a case-by-case basis. And those easy things, you can get a lot more money for your property. Every single year you can increase it by just staying to those simple things. So I'm Steve Rozenberg, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.